Okay, in this video we're checking out the SPC Maker Mini Whale HD. This is the HD Whoop version of this, and it also comes in a non-HD version. I won't be reviewing that one. That was only sent this one. And for the most part, not a lot of surprises here. This is pretty much what I expected. Very similar in weight and performance to the iFlight, the Cinewhoop that I reviewed not too long ago, maybe a week or two ago. I believe the motors are the same kV and size, so 1103, 10,000 kV, and 2 to 3S capable. I believe the Cinewhoop does can do 4S on a different motor, of course, not the one that comes with here. This one, this SPC Maker can only do up to 3S, and this is what I flew it on. Before I actually talk about this more, let me just get the box stuff out of the way. So not a lot comes with it. You get the drone, of course, here, a couple spare prop guard ducts, and some screws for the props. You get two sets of these Gemfan 40mm props, 4-bladed with the 1.5mm hole. I obviously put one set already on here, but there is another set. This is a spare, and you can use the screws on this one for the mounting of the props if you want. I elected not to. This motor does have the holes for the prop screws if you want to use those. Not a lot of these 1103 motors have that option. So you can see it's SPC Maker branded, 1103, 10,000 kV. And I think that if you're going to get this and fly it, I would recommend it on 3S. And I had to actually tune it because I don't know if this because it's an early release or pre-production or what. It didn't come with any tune whatsoever. Basically, they flashed Betaflight, I think it's 350, with no settings whatsoever, just a blank flash on there. So what I did end up doing is I decided to just go ahead and put 4.0 on there. Just 4.0 just came out like a couple days ago, and so I went ahead and just flashed it on there and tuned it for a 3S LiPo 550 3S GNB. I'll put that battery down below. So if you want to use that battery or something around that weight on 3S, you'll get a similar flight characteristic that you'll see in the flight demo. That's what I actually used, and then I'll put the complete CLI dump down in the description so you can download that dump. So basically you're going to have to flash 4.0 to the flight controller, Betaflight 4.0, and I have a video on that. Card in the corner, also link to that video down in the description. You're going to have to flash Betaflight 4.0 to the flight controller and then import or use my CLI dump that into the CLI and save it, and then you'll have all the settings that I have in this one and the way it flew in the demo that you'll see at the end. Then you get through the rest of the specs. Another major difference here is this one comes with the RenCam Split Mini 2 with the M12 lens, so the bigger lens. Supposedly this one is not as defect prone as the M8 lens. So you'll see what that's like in the video, and you can judge for yourself if you like that video quality. Most of these HD whoops come with the Caddx Turtle V2, so this is, I think, one of the rare ones, if not the only one that I'm aware of that comes with the Split Mini V2. I think one of the reasons why is because it comes with that ribbon cable, so that kind of limits what you can do with your design without having, without twisting that cable, which of course will break it. This one here, the cable does, as you can see, just come out the bottom here like this. Out the back of the camera, and they have the split mini board kind of right there. It is in between the 4-in-1 EC and the flight controller. So the 4-in-1 EC is down there at the bottom. This does come with plugs, so these motors are the plug version. Yeah, so some debate as to whether that's good or not, but it does make changing the motors a little bit easier, though I would have to say that getting access to those plugs, not super easy where they are. So you're going to have to take it apart if you're going to change the motor anyway, so very, very tight in terms of space here. So you got the 12 amp 4-in-1 AC, it's D-Shot 600 capable, not a 32-bit ESC. Got your split mini board here in the middle, so these are all 20 by 20 boards. And then you have an F4 flight controller, it's the Omnibus F4 SD target. And then there's a little bit of space there for your receiver and your video transmitter. So the video transmitter is like tucked up above the camera and underneath the canopy here, and it's like a half size 20 by 20 board. I'll show you the diagram there, the documentation in a second. This one didn't come with a receiver, so I do believe they're selling this in receiver versions with FreeSky and Spectrum and FlySky receivers, but the one they sent me was plug and play, didn't come with any receiver at all. But I just soldered up my own FreeSky receiver, and I just soldered up there, so you can see ground, 5 volts and signal, and then these wires here for the video transfer. So it's really hard to see. I had to take the screw out of here, and then these 2 screws down here to take the canopy off to get the receiver in there and solder it up. I'm assuming the plug and play versions, I'm sorry, yeah, is that right? The bind and fly? Yeah, bind and fly versions with the receivers will have the receiver already in there, so you don't have to take it apart if you happen to get one of those. You'll just need to figure out a way to get access to the bind button, and yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I don't have those versions, so I can't say what that's going to look like, but yeah, that would be interesting, trying to get access to the bind button with the receiver tucked in there. I can't imagine where else you would put the receiver other than there. I mean, it fit pretty nicely there. You can see it's nice and tucked away, and the antenna just comes out one of those holes there. This is the VTX antenna. So let's talk about the flight controller. This is the one that's in here. So it's kind of like this H shape with cutouts here, so it's a little bit lighter, but it's a pretty nice flight controller. So it has you know, solder points for your camera, your video transmitter. The video transmitter is smart. It says smart audio, but it's actually not smart audio. It's actually the RSC Tramp protocol, but it is VTX remote control, and it's on TX3 there on that pad. So again, if you use my CLI dump, you'll see all the settings I used. I used the RSC Tramp on UART3 to enable video the VTX remote control feature. Now here on the side, you have the rest of your UARTs and receiver connections. So they're using UART1 here for Spectrum, so that's probably uninverted. And then you can probably also use iBus on there as well. There's a 3.3 volt pad there. There's a PPM pad here. I used R6 or UART6 for my SBus receiver, and there's 5 volts in ground there. You have a buzzer connections here, LED here, and you have your 4-in-1 EUC connections right there on a plug. And then this here, let's see. Okay, so on the other side, here is the diagram of the video transmitter. So it does pit mode, 25 milliwatts and 100 milliwatts, and as I said, it's VTX remote control, so you can switch your bands, channel, and power all via your transmitter if you want, and it's all solder points here. As you can see, it's like half size 20 by 20 board. It does not screw down to the stack. It's just kind of floating and under the canopy, so be aware of that. And then if you do want to use the button, you can use the old school way of selecting your band, channel, and power. And all the instructions are here. This particular method is not particularly easy, so I would recommend using your transmitter instead of this method outlined here. Okay, so as mentioned before, this is pretty similar to the iFlight Cinewhoop. It's a little bit heavier. I think it's coming in at about 71 grams for the Cinewhoop, and then the SPC maker, the Mini Whale, we're coming in at about 62.5 grams. So it is a little bit lighter. It's probably because there's more plastic and less carbon and metal than the Cinewhoop, but it flies pretty similarly on 3S compared to the Cinewhoop in terms of power and flight characteristics. It still has the yaw washouts as always. That might be because of I just used kind of a simple tune. I might be able to tune it out, but yeah, I don't really fly these like I do a 5-inch, so I'm just not going to bother doing that kind of a tune. I don't know. If there's a lot of noise out there in the comments below that you guys want to see a tune that gets rid of the yaw washout, let me know. But yeah, I would need to see lots and lots of comments if that's going to ever happen. But I don't fly these like that, so if it's fine for your cruising around and your once in a while do a flip and a roll type of thing, not a problem. It's a basic tune. It's going to get you in the air. It's not going to burn the motors out. That's another thing about Betaflight 4.0 is you got to, if you are messing around with a tune, fly it for like 30 seconds, land, check your motor temperatures. You don't fry anything, and also listen to the props if you hear any kind of oscillations or anything. If it's kind of flying or making kind of funny noises, you definitely want to be careful with your tune. I'm gonna have a video later on Betaflight 4.0 tuning for micros. Still kind of deciding on how I'm gonna approach that, because it is kind of complicated. I'm going to do it by category, by let me say like these smaller ones versus like say a 3-inch or a 5-inch. I don't know. There's a lot of different approaches. I haven't quite figured out what to do with that yet. So you'll have to wait for that video. It's going to take a little bit of time to put that together. So overall, not a whole lot of surprises here other than the fact that it didn't come with any kind of a tune out of the box. I'm going to give my tune that I used in this video to SPC Maker. Maybe they can flash that on the builds that they send out to customers later, because at least that's somewhat flyable. But yeah, in terms of like flight characteristics, power, those kind of things, pretty similar to the Cinewhoop. And I thought that I did a pretty decent job in getting a good flight characteristics out of it with the tune I have, but of course it could still be worked on. Anyway, yeah, so enough of me rambling on about this. Go ahead and show you some flight footage from this guy. If you guys think that there's something extraordinarily different about this one compared to, say, like the Cinewhoop, you guys let me know in the comments below. Maybe I missed something, but it flies and seems pretty similar to a lot of the other HD whoops out there. Just a little bit of a different package, a little bit different design. Of course, using more plastic here, make it a little bit lighter, things like that, but not really, super different from a lot of the other HD whoops out there. Anyway, I'm going to go show you some flight footage. Talk to you guys in the next video.